to understand the far-reaching changes that have occurred in human societies over the past 2 to 3 centuries. The ability to think imaginatively and to detach oneself as far as possible from preconceived ideas about social relationships and reactions, and the factors that have modified the sociology in the modern era. I'm your host, Monica Qasim Santh, and with me here in the studio, Dr. Nasser Al-Oud. Dr. Nasser Al-Oud, professor in clinical social work at Imam University. Welcome to the show.
I'm pleased to be here. Thank you
And
for inviting me.
thank you very much. Science, and that probably everybody knows what sociology is, but let's give a little introduction, Dr. Al-Oud, about what sociology is, and very, very briefly, and start developing our show from there.
Sure. Sociology is, as a knowledge, and they call it also soft science. It's not hard science as physics and others. All we know that sociology has been for years in the world, and it's given the fact that sociologists were among the VIP person in Europe, and they developed many theory that explain how the people interact. And mainly the sociology is the study of people and their culture, their belief, their system, their interactions, and the problem that are encountering those people while function in their life. Mm-hmm. So it's the way that we study the phenomena and to try to explain it so that we can treat it and we can change it. So in Arab countries, developed like 300, 400 years ago. Even some people call it Ibn Khaldun, who
Yes.
has introduced his big books studying the people how they live.
Yes.
And some people call the born of sociology on the hand of Ibn Khaldun.
Right.
So this is briefly what sociology means, and I hope inshallah we'll have good discussion about it.
I'm sure that we will, but
As you know, it's been annual kind of studying how the people believe and try to provide those study so that they could explain what's going on with the person in his life, and at the same time with his people where they interact in the community. Nowadays, sociology, and in the past too, has adapted itself to different kind of sociology. Now, the sociology of technology, sociology of people, sociology of social work, sociology of medicine. So sociology is kind of trying to, or has been adapting itself to whatever is there. So even the globalization now, there is specific study in economy, economists, also they part of sociology. Social work, which born from sociology, has been the second era of sociology, which is try to go to those problems and try to
solve them.
Help the people to solve the problems,
Right.
or try to provide community service such as volunteer work. So, sociology has changed itself, and probably in the future we don't know what sociology is, but at least we know that sociology of medicine, sociology of sports, sociology of people. Also, I will not forget the anthropology as kind of study as part of sociology.
Yes.
Studying the people where they interact
In their
nature.
environment, yes, in their natural
Exactly.
environment.
All this try to help the people, help the globalization, help the countries to try to solve its problem. For example, if you study the people, how they interact, for example, to medicine, for the epidemic of H1N1. So this is a kind of example.
Yes.
We provide all those people with those medicine.
What is the
However,
impact?
nobody show up to get the shot. So
Right.
if has the people consult with the sociologists to study the people and their belief and how they interact, I think we'll solve the problem. This is what the power of sociology is: studying the people, providing those studies to the people, and we'll come to discuss the kind of centers that's good, the polling.
Right. It's a broad. So for Dr. Al-Oud, why isn't it possible to create a general social or sociology concept, a global sociology concept that actually underneath has all the different aspects and elements of each one of the cultures? It is broad, but there should be people that could be able to do it.
Well, I think, as you know, there's, for example, the PC. It's called the PC everywhere. So the iPad now,
Yes.
they call it everywhere. So there's like a definition that cannot disagree with.
On,
But
yes.
this terms, as your guest mentioned, Dr. Ibrahim. He mentioned that terms of self-determination is very important, and I think it's really hard to understand in different culture than what it's been developed on. For example, if you ask the people who've been for years in a country that has different system, and they go and take this terms and adopt it, it's really hard to understand and to deal with either with their peers, with their society, with their community. As we take now in our society, the people who are open-minded, they call them liberal, and we don't know what liberal means.
Exactly.
And sometimes you get a view that even your brother called you are liberal, you against the such and such and such, even religion or culture. And this is very important to understand in our community these days. Is these terms have been adopted from different country without the people understanding those terms.
And
before we give the people their right to either select whatever they want, it's to be important that we give them the culture and education about those terms and what does it mean.
And also their application. I mean, I agree with you. In one country, one terminology or one behavior can be accepted and the other might not. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about globalizing the concept of sociology to apply it generally. For example, you just mentioned liberal. Liberal, for one person or one culture might mean something, in another culture might mean something else. But before we continue, Dr. Al-Oud, aspect that needs to be actually handled if we're speaking about globalization. So there's kind of like controversy in between both, if we're speaking about globalization and then we're speaking about sociology in each one of the countries. What are your comments?
Sure. We have in sociology and social work as well the study of culture. So sociology is very, organized and have a lot of study in culture, and at the same time the anthropologists as well. When they study those kind of culture, they try to look for the common things in those culture and try to apply them and make the terminology for them. For example, there is such a study that's found the same culture in Africa has the shared same culture in South America, for example. And this is kind of, they're looking for the common things. For example, the parenting style, the child maltreatment, the husband and wife interaction.
Different types of behavior.
Different type of behavior, but they find the same things. Even they go, one sociologist who studied the kind of names of moms, he found all the words. It's called mamas, mima, mamu. It's the same
letters, basically,
letters,
or
sounds.
phonetics, yes.
Exactly, or pronunciation, whatever.
Yes.
So this is kind of a field in sociology and some social work community as well to study this, to look for the common things and in order to come up with ideas and explanation to help the people in education and in immigration study, to help those countries who have migration in the country to just come and adapt their culture. We have a lot of, as you know, after the Iraqi wars and the Somali wars, we have a lot of people who were migrating to either North Europe or North America. And I had to deal with those kind of population, Somali, for example, in Ohio. We find it's difficult to go from American perspective to go to this culture and try to change it. And I remember there was a site in North Ohio. It's filled with drug abuse. It's like districts. What we do, we ask the community of Ohio, and they come to share their ideas how to get those people to this district. When we went and tried to move those people in some houses there, we found those drug abusers try to move away because those Somali comes with a culture to refuse the drug abuse, and they are coherent in their family system, so that the people who sell those drugs find no customer for them. As a result, those went away from the country.